Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be getting my Sterling. I almost called it my Moxie Life. My Sterling ink planner set up for January, as well as doing my January goals in my Moxie Life. So I have a Sarasa Mark-On pen and my pigment liner from Unipin. I've got Tombow, correction tape, and then my jug with my Moxie markers and my dot pens. As of the filming of this, I still have not received my Moxie dot pens yet, so I'm still using my Zig clean color dot pens for the moment, at least. So I think it's the first time I've done with this system. It's different than what I've been doing the past year. So I am a little confused. I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet. I also still, at this point, I'm doing this a little early because there's a couple things I really want to do in here. So I haven't actually done the HB90 boot camp, so I don't have my work year or my work quarter figured out yet. But I'm not worried about that because this is mostly going to be personal stuff. So I guess the first thing to do is I'm going to open this up. This is my Sterling Ink Common Planner. I'm going to open this up to the quarterly page because what I want to do is look at my goals and figure out what my priorities for quarter one are going to be. I'm setting my goals a little differently this year with Moxie Life. Instead of doing a whole bunch of things that turn into a to-do list, I've picked some very kind of specific goals that may not all be addressed at any given time. I want to kind of go through here and determine what priorities, what do I actually want to get done this quarter to get me towards these goals. I don't know if I'm going to use these or not, but this is one of my favorite winter washi tapes. It's a Simply Gilded one. I actually have another roll of this that somebody sent me when I run out of this one. And my some gray Moxie Life washi tape. I grabbed both colors of the gray. Okay, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do is look at my annual goals and determine what all I want to be done with or be focusing on in this first quarter. So for personal, I'm just going to make some notes. Maybe I'll add washi tape after, but I'm going to make some notes. So I want to focus on, for personal, these are both habits, waking up at 6:30 on weekdays and adding at least 2 pics a week to my journal. So these are both habits I'm just going to definitely add to my habit tracker. Fun and recreation, have new experiences each quarter, and sing at a jam night. I'm not going to focus on singing at a jam night, but what I will focus on this quarter is having new experiences. Just put a little checkbox here, new experience. And I actually know what that's going to be. It's already figured out. In February, I'm going to go to a Nuggets Kings game. It'll be my first basketball game at Ball Arena. So what I'll do, I think, to make the note of whether or not where this goes, I'm going to highlight with the color for my goal. Looking at work and learning, 1 new release per quarter and create finished art each month. So I'm going to just do another box for a new release. But I don't know when I'm going to exactly do that because I have not done my HB90 stuff. So I'm not going to worry about putting that in here. I know it'll likely not be in January because even if I finish the art in January, and then hosting friends each quarter, and then dinner at the table 3 times weekly. So we're going to have to work towards some of this, but I'm going to just put host friends. These are bleeding through, but that's okay. I'm going to work towards my Peloton stuff. I think the first Universalist. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I think this quarterly priorities thing, I'm going to have to, I know I'm doing this all over the place, but I really don't know what I'm doing. So we're going to go to I decided instead of the pink one, I'm going to go with the cream colored one first, just because it's winter time. So we're going to open it up here for January. I'm just going to write that up at the top. January. Okay, let's try breaking this shit down. Let's start with personal. So progress goals, waking up at 6:30 a.m. on weekdays and add at least 2 pics per week to my journal. So the focus this month is going to bed on time. So I think I'm going to erase this habit right here, because I have found that waking up early, going to bed. So what I'm going to work on in January is going to bed, being showered and in bed by 9 p.m. on most nights. Not choir nights because I don't get out till later, but most weeknights. Will I fall asleep by 9 p.m.? No, probably not. I'm going to highlight that because that will be the habit I put on. I'm not going to dot anything until I get my dot markers and decide if I want to use them or not. So that will definitely be on my habit tracker, and I'll add that in a second. And then the other one will be journal nightly with pics at least 2 times weekly. I started this in December, and so I have been journaling with pics, but I just want to continue to work on that. That's not going to be something I need to build up to. I just need to keep doing it. So that's my January monthly goals. For fun and recreation, have new experiences each quarter. We already talked about that. My new experience is going to be going to the Nuggets-Kings game and then progressing at a jam night. I'm not going to worry about that this month. I'm just going to go to a jam night with Jesse just to keep. The only way I'm going to build up to singing at a jam night is if I actually keep going to them at least once a month. The other thing I'm going to be working on, and you're going to see it, is my my bucket list for the year, which includes experiences and stuff like that. But it will also include, I've got 2 challenges I'm going to be working on in this year, so I'm going to make sure to put those in there as well, but I'm not there yet. So for work and learning, like I said, so 1 new release a quarter, so there may be some items on here that I don't really know yet, except that I want to finish the art for the new release. I know that that's going to be something I work on. I haven't even gotten to the point of planning my quarter out yet, but I know that that's going to be January. So finish art for Q1 release. That'll also be the other one. Create finished art each month. For family and relationships, my 2 goals are host friends each quarter and have dinner at the table as a family at least 3 times weekly. So I think what we're going to do is work on 1 time weekly in January. The reason I talked about this in my goals video, but the reason that we're struggling to eat dinner at the table as a family is because we used to do it almost every night. But Sunny, when their eating disorder got really bad, that became a very major trigger for them. And so we stopped eating with Sunny at the table. And then when Sunny started coming back, RJ decided to drift off to the living room. So we need to kind of get it together. So the 2 things are, I want to plan when we will host friends. Just get a date on the calendar. And then dinner at table 1 time weekly. For health and wellness, my goals are to hit my century ride on Peloton, 7,500 steps per day, and 1 month of closing rings. This is not going to be a month of closing rings, not in the winter, because just getting outside is a lot harder. So how am I going to break this one down? Well, first, I'm not even putting my focuses down. I don't know if you guys know this. So first and foremost, we'll look at the steps per day. I want to average at least 4,000 steps per day. That doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm in a dialysis chair almost 4 hours every 5 days a week. So 4,000 steps per day. We're not going to worry about the month of closing rings, but this one is definitely going to be a habit that's going to go on my habit tracker. So my current situation with Peloton is I'm at 37 rides, at least as of the filming of this video. So I need to get in on average of around 5 rides per month to get to my century ride, but I'm not going to get there in January. So I think what I want to do is do 2 times in the month. That I think is a good start. And then for spiritual and personal growth, gratitude journaling daily and join First Universalist. So we'll work on gratitude journaling. What I'm going to do is just I think what we'll put here is bed by 9 p.m. Journal pics, journal. So that way I can check off which days I used pictures and which days I just journaled. And then the other thing I think is happening is, I'm just going to write question mark because I'm not sure yet, is new member classes, question mark, because they're required at our congregation. So she said that they're probably going to be in January. I'll know for sure when she lets us know. So I'm just going to put this on there. If they are in January, I'm going to go. Financial, my goals are to save our 6-month emergency fund, and progress goals are to budget and YNAB and a no-buy year. So for financial, my habit will be no-buy. January budget, reconcile weekly, put 1K in savings. That was what Jesse and I agreed on as like our kicking off for the goal to start putting money away. It may not get us to even if we can build it faster, we may not get to our budgeting goal this year, but it'll get us closer. And then physical environment. Finish all of the walls in the house. This month, I want to finish the basement gallery wall. I'm already halfway there. And everything is framed. Like, it really won't take me that long if I just sit down and do it. All right, so here are my goals for the month then. So now what we're going to do in January is I want to just put things I can check off. So finish the art. We got that on here. We got in bed, shower by 9, journal nightly with 2 picks weekly, go to a jam night. Plan when we will host friends dinner at table 1 time weekly. So the weekly ones I need to put on my weekly schedule. So I'm not going to put that on here. That'll just go when I schedule my weeks out. It's the purple. That's the fucking bleeder. It's the purple. Monthly goals, we've got 4K steps per day. The gratitude journal is just part of the journaling that's already on there. New member classes, I'm not even going to write that on here until I know that I've got them. Same with 2 times Peloton in January. And then I'm going to just put the 1K in savings here. The rest of these I'll probably just put onto weekly actions and schedule them for my week. I'm still figuring out how I'm doing this. And then basement gallery wall. Down here, what I want to do is draw in a line to divide this. I guess I could have used washi tape. You've already seen my no buy video where I talk about my challenge for the month. This month I want to use up 3 rolls of washi tape. So I'm going to put right here, use yo shit and my cooking challenges, which you'll hear more about when I do my bucket list for 2024, which you'll see on the New Year's Eve. But for my use your shit, washi rolls. And I'm just going to take a dot pen. We'll go with this blue. 1, 2, 3. Now, this one will be 1. So I'm going to maybe put a little bit of each tape. I've got 3 here. This piece is curling and I hate that. So we're going to do a non-curly piece. We'll use this guy here. And which is almost out. I have another roll of this, so I'm fine using that up. This is an Amanda Rachel Lee washi that is also kind of light colored, which I think will work. And it's also most of the way used, so we'll go with that. I'm not trying to start from a brand new roll. That'll suck my balls. That one. And then this stars one goes really nicely with both of them. So I think that this will be another good one to use up. See if I can get through all 3 of these in the month of... Yeah, these will look really pretty together. Whoops. All right. So 3... God damn it. Why won't you stay down? So these are the washis I'm going to be trying to use up in January. And then for my cooking challenge, I think we decided we were going to go with Italian. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 full weeks. So I'm going to put 4 dots for 4 new recipes. And that is going to be my quarterly situation. I'm not really doing anything fancy on these pages just because it seems not useful for me. The next thing I want to do is this December spread. I'm not using it. So I actually want to create use this guy here. I want to create a list on these pages just to use them up because I have no other use for them. And this is going to be something I talked about during a couple of my vlogs, which is the whole reason I wanted to start my setup a little early for January, is that I wanted to put this list in here. And what it is all of Stephen King's books. I have read a large amount of them. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I own a shit ton of them. And what I want to do is read this year. This is not a goal. It's just kind of like a fun little project that may or may not happen because I want to read more. I love to read, but it just, with dialysis, I thought I would be reading more, but it's hard to read unless it's on my Kindle. And a lot of the books on my Kindle are like biographies and shit that I'm just not in the mood for when I'm on my dialysis. And so I just play a lot of video games when I'm not working. And so checking books out from the library or whatever. So I'm just going to start making a list here. This could just be books TBR. I don't know. I'm not making it super fancy. We'll use this guy to start a list here. This is just going to be a page that I can utilize for keeping track of books. And so what I want to do is I'm just going to make the whole list, and then I'll go through and I'll check off the ones that I know I've read. Whether I own them or not, no big deal. I don't care about that. It's just, have I read them? This is a uni pen oil-based. It writes pretty well on washi tape. And here's the thing. I also know that some Stephen King books take some time to get into. Those ones, if it doesn't work for me, I'll just make a star next to it and I'll try and come back to it. Because there have been some, Bag of Bones and Insomnia are right there on that list that I had to put them down and walk away because I just couldn't. And then I tried again and suddenly I was like, I love these books. So yeah, so I'm grabbing this list from Stephen King's website. I'm just listing all of the books on here in order. These are in order of publication date. So you're going to notice when I start crossing them off that the earlier books I've read more of. Okay, so remember how I said I didn't think this was going to take up the whole page? Yeah, it's taking up the whole page. All right, before I cross anything off, I just want to give you a couple contexts here. First and foremost, next to some of these is written RB. Those are for Richard Bachman books, his pseudonym. And the other notation is DT for Dark Tower. Except for I didn't write that next to the final book in the series, which is called The Dark Tower, because I think that's fucking obvious. And then I separated out the collections of short stories. The novella collections are in here, except Different Seasons I put twice. So I'm just going to cross you off. The novella collections, at least the two of them that I know I've read, Four Past Midnight and Different Seasons, are in the novels. But the short story collections are here. There may be some novellas that show up here that are also here. Like, for example, The Mist is it Different Seasons? No, it's, Skeleton Crew. That's the one I'm trying to remember. Skeleton Crew, I believe, is the one with the mist in it. It's either Skeleton Crew or Night Shift. Either way, I've read it. The point being is that with some of these later novellas, I'm pretty sure If It Bleeds is the novella that brings the title to If It Bleeds, but I haven't read it, so I don't know for sure. So the only time I started to not put novellas if I know they're in one of these books, but there may be some crossover. And I didn't include screenplays, and I didn't include things that are in anthologies that I know about. This is just his published novels and novellas and his published short story collections. Now I'm going to cross off everything I've read, and then we'll see where we're at. Fun. Up through Insomnia. This is all the books from Carrie to Insomnia, which was mid-90s. I've read them all except for Cycle of the Werewolf. I feel like when I was a kid, I thought Cycle of the Werewolf was a calendar. So that's why I never read it. That might be what I start with. Because I know I really prefer the older King. To be fair, a lot of the books of his I like were when he was like hopped up on hella cocaine and shit. So it's probably not the best idea, but can I help it? I was talking to somebody the other day about how artists tend to put out a lot of great work when they're on all sorts of drugs, which sucks, but also but I like their work. I don't know. Anyway. Now you can start to see where I stopped. So I have From a Buick 8, but I don't think I ever read it. I think that was one that I started and didn't really like. This was right around when Dreamcatcher came out. I didn't really care for Dreamcatcher. I didn't really care for Cell. I read the final Dark Tower books, but Song of Susanna kind of blew chunks. So, and there's a Dark Tower book that came out later, The Wind Through the Keyhole, that I never read. I haven't. I know I have from a Buick 8. I know I have The Wind Through the Keyhole. Those might be the only ones I actually own that I haven't read. Then other than that, I stopped reading for the most part, except for 11/22/63, which is outstanding, and I lent that to someone and have never gotten it back. And Doctor Sleep, which I read because it's the sequel to The Shining. But other than that, I have this whole pile to go through. And then for collections, I did read Night Shift, Skeleton Crew, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and Everything Eventual. But then all of these collections I have not read. So that gives me, just from this list, 34. That might be a little less if some of these are like encapsulated in the collections, but it's quite a bit. I think there's more here than I thought, but I stopped really following him. You could kind of tell, like right when I was like having kids and going through divorce and shit. So glad I have this done though. This is both overwhelming and mildly satisfying. All right, now we're going to get into my January monthly, which is again something I'm trying to use more often. So one thing I want to start doing on my monthlies is making a note of days I finish a book. So just making a notation on here when I finish it. This is RJ off, Sunny off. I never wrote that on here. I just put the notes in here. I've already put my choir rehearsals in here now that I have them. So this is how my month is already starting to shake out in terms of appointments. I want to put a little washi tape here just to give it a bit of a decoration. So we'll use this guy. Oh my God, I'm already like fucking my pages up in that. Yeah, I know that's why people love the Tomoe River paper, but there's a part of me that's like, oh fuck, they're all crankly. They're crankly. I'm not putting too much decor on here because I can always go back and add any stickers or anything I want to later. I don't want to add anything until I know what space I've taken up. All right, so there's some janky washi tape. And then one of the things I do want to do on this list over here is just make a list of things that I know I need to get done this month. And I'm going to pull things from my monthly goals. I also want to put in paydays. Quarterly taxes are due. What day are the quarterly taxes due? January 16th. Quarterly taxes. All right, that's all in here. I think I'm just going to leave the rest of this alone until I start fucking with it. So then here is January. It's my first day. I don't need to put anything in here. Here we have another thing I want to do. I want to make another notation down here of things I want to track on my dailies. To track daily, I want to make sure to take my meds, take meds, wear Apple Watch for steps, and then to track weekly, reconcile, Peloton. For now, at least. These are just reminders. But again, like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I think that's it. I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Is there something you're really looking forward to about your new planner for 2024? Let me know in the comments. Tell me what you're using. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, friends, peace.